Watch TV, promoting sustainable development.
Good evening to you all and welcome to tonight's episode. It is on this show that we seek to address issues that hinders our development as youth. Remember, it's all about you. And tonight we're going to have another episode of Youth and Migration. So my guest is going to help us unlock travel opportunities for education and professional development. I will introduce him to you very soon, but before then, I'd like to seize this opportunity to say a very big thank you to you all for being with us, for always making time with us on the Youth Avenue. And also, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube page yet, kindly do so at Watch TV channel and follow us on all our social media platforms at Watch TV channel. Yeah. Tonight, we are going to talk about youth and migration. And my guest is going to help us to unlock travel opportunities for education and professional development. So our guest tonight, he is the CEO of Snyders Group, USA, in the person of Douglas Festus Kujo. Hi Douglas, you're welcome to the Youth Avenue.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here this evening.
Good to have you here too.
Yeah, how have you been?
Not too bad.
So how's the day?
I've had an eventful one. It's been ups and downs, but I'm here.
Okay. Thank God you're able to make it though.
Right.
Yeah. So on the Youth Avenue, all we do is to sit down to address issues that hinder our growth as youth, and then we look at opportunities or ways that we can grow out of all these struggles, and if I should put it that way.
Right.
Okay. So to keep it going, I'd like you to tell us, and you tell me, and then our viewers, a little bit about yourself, growing up, your professional background, anything you'd like us to know.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm Douglas Festus Kujo. I was born here in Takoradi, Ghana, obviously. So I did all my nursery, primary, and then junior high school here in Takoradi. So Yambetri School. It's now Excellence Academy.
Okay.
That's where I did my primary school, and then GSS. From there, I moved on to like Ghana Secondary Technical, GSTS. I read science. I was in House 5, IE. From GSTS, I finished my education at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology as a biology student. But I was only there for one semester and I quit due to some reasons. Okay. So the more reason I quit had to do with like I never saw myself go past what was being taught in class, because I figured there are other opportunities elsewhere. That's why I decided to quit, and it was because of financial reasons initially. So my parents wanted the best for me, right? So I also wanted the best for myself. As much as they do. So when I decided not to pursue my career in biology, like look elsewhere. And that's why I quit school to pursue a different dream. So yeah.
Okay, so tell us a bit about Snyders Group, what you do, and then everything.
So having left the country, to pursue a degree in the US, I went through so many like different people. Like, if you want to get your passport here in Ghana, you have to talk to this person. You have to reach out to this, that person. So I went through all that, and after I think a couple years, I got my visa. I left for the US. So I understood the process. I like to read. I like to research. So I spend most of my times at a cafe, figuring out what US education is all about. I initially got to school in Italy. I decided not to go, right, because I was supposed to learn Italian for 1 year, which was to me is like a no, right? I struggle with languages, so I didn't want to learn anything different from English, right? That's why I didn't, go to Italy. I wanted to go to the US because I loved America. So with that information and the knowledge that I acquired here in Ghana, when I went to the US, it was easier because I got to campus, and lucky for me, we had like an international student representative who was very great. So we became friends. Then they would tell you about how they process students' application, how they reach out to the student, So it became like a usual conversation on a regular basis while on campus.
Okay.
So I learned that, and I tell my friends like, hey, if you want to come here, it's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
There are some colleges here that you can pay less and you can work on campus to, subsidize what you're supposed to pay. And if you qualify for scholarship, you don't have to pay all that much. So it's just like schooling in Ghana, but this is kind of like the same for you for the same amount of money, So, and that's why Snyders came about.
Okay.
So I started helping students apply to colleges in the U.S. While I was a student, because I understood what the requirements were. And that's why I started helping people. And then I pulled some of the guys that I met there, in the States. Like, hey, there's something that you can do. Like, if we are here, there are other people from different parts of Africa who also want to come to the U.S. So let's do it together. And so that's how Snyders started.
Okay. So how long has it really been in existence?
So Snyders in general has been in existence for the past like 13 years.
13 years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if I got you correctly, what you do is you help people who want to go further their studies outside.
Correct.
To do that.
Right.
Okay. All right. So how did you come about the name, the Snyders? Does it have any meaning?
So this is interesting, right?
Okay.
So I have a friend who, when I go to the US the first time, I get on campus. There's a guy who is from the Netherlands. His name is Snyder.
Okay.
That's his last name. So we play soccer. The school had a gym, like we play soccer. So African students and Europeans. Europeans love soccer. In the US, football, right? US has a different name for what they call it soccer. So we play at a gym, and I like the guy. He dribbles very well. He passes, and then I'm like, you remind me of a Dutch player also by the name Snyder. And it's like you should name something after me.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna use the same name, but I'll change the R to an X, right? So, and it's like, why X? And I'm like, oh, I want to say 𝐘𝐨𝐿𝐷, right?
Okay.
Because he also quit his college, like back home, to move to the US, right? And I also like quit like my college in Ghana to go to the US. So I'm like, just put X, we make it X, So that's how they name. So it's not like something that someone planned, right? So it's like, oh, I'll keep it, because it sells.
That's interesting. Okay, so Snyders Group recently organized the program here in Takoradi. What inspired the organization to organize such a program?
So for me, it's my way of giving back.
Okay.
Right.
First of all, how was the outcome?
So we had a great turnout.
You expected that number?
We expected less.
Okay.
But I was impressed with the number of people that showed up, and so I appreciate everybody that could make it. Some people actually took pictures, streamed, and I appreciate the guys who did that. This has been like a conversation with the country director. We talked about this like 5 months ago. It was just a joke.
Okay.
Like, hey, you know what? Of all the knowledge and information that you got, you need to share this. So for me, I was vulnerable for the first time because I like to move inside, quiet. I'm maybe the quiet sniper, right?
Okay.
Because all the things that like my education, my accomplishment at work, my parents have no idea. I'll just talk to them, they're like, oh, how was work? I'll tell them work is fine, I like to be private, but it's like, you become an inspiration. The quiet you are, people don't know who you are. They don't, and there are some information that you could share, but if you keep it to yourself, it's not good, So I felt obliged that, hey, and as a promise that I made to my grandmother, that wherever I find myself, I'll come back to give back. Sometimes people feel like you have to give money to show that you support, and I think for me at this point it's just information. You support with information, support with maybe your money or the things that you can help push the youth. Because I think most people are not informed if they were, they probably would have done things different. So I feel that it's important to share, the knowledge that I have, and some of them that I acquire as I grow in my career. So that's why I came back here to have the event.
Okay. So is this the first time, like, is it the first one you've organized here in Takoradi? And have you done some in any other part of the country?
So the answer is yes. This is the first time we've had this in Takoradi.
Okay.
The ones that I've had were all virtual. So I created a WhatsApp group where I help students that have no idea who they are, right? So we have over 600 people in the WhatsApp group, and it's full. At this point, it's full. So my partners have been talking about creating a new one, and I'm like, it's irrelevant, right? You just have to get the information out there. And as we do, the people in the group will carry the message. But this is the first time we are having not virtual but in person, conference to talk about what Snyders does and some opportunities out there.
I hope it's gonna continue.
Yeah, we're planning to do it annually.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had so many people appreciate, and the fact that we're able to talk about investment opportunities, careers, different careers that I think those people that showed up, most of them, I think majority of them haven't heard some of the careers out there that we talked about. So I think it's great. So we plan to probably do this annually. And for me personally, I like to bring some of my friends who are successful in their careers, who are doing great elsewhere, not just in the US but in Europe, Middle East, to be speakers, as we plan to go different places in the country,
I think that really helps.
Yeah.
We really need that now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so Douglas, with the activities of Snyders, how do you perceive the issue of migration among the youth in Ghana, both legal and illegally?
So I want to speak on the legal part.
Okay.
Soon as you touch down to Ghana, anyone that meets you, hey, you from the US, you tell them, yeah, they're like, oh, I want to move from Ghana, And I think the society is at a point that people feel like they are stuck. Hey, I have the degree, I have my master's, I'm going for my PhD, but I don't know what I'm gonna do when I graduate. I think that's what most people feel like. Hey, I need to move out of the country. However, if you want to move, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But for me, you just have to be ready to face some challenges. It's not gonna be like butter and cheese. It's not easier if you want to move out. The first thing is you should get your finances straight. I think here in Ghana, most people, I think, if I'm correct, 50% or 60% of the families in Ghana are average. It's hard to get a family that makes at least 100,000 cedis a year, right? It's hard. But tuition in the US is on the average, $6,000 per semester. That's just tuition. So room and board comes in. So you're looking at around, for undergraduate, you're probably looking at anything above $25,000 a year. Right? So that is money that most families wouldn't see maybe 4 or 5 years of work. So the question is, how do you go to the US to go to school and pay that? So that's the legal part, right? So the legal part is you maybe making a trip to Libya, try to cross the ocean to Europe for greener pastures, right? So with issue of immigration, I think it's hard. It's a hard topic. Right? Depends on what the person wants, because people feel like they are stuck here, so they need to move out to get something better. But and for me, that's why I'm a big proponent for remote jobs. Because if I live here in Ghana and I know I can get a job with the skill set that I have, that pays me well, right? You can travel to Europe or go to the US or Canada to visit, to tour the place, visit family, friends, come home. Because if you can work remote, you can still travel and work.
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's for me personally. That's what I believe in.
Okay.
You know, don't feel that you are stuck. You know, you can't get stuck if you have the right information to, you know, go above the ceiling. You know, so crack the ceiling, see what is about there, you know, and go for it.
Okay. Okay. So there is still more for you on the Youth Avenue. We are here tonight discussing youth and migration, having another episode of youth and migration. And this time around, we have here the CEO of Snyders Group USA. He's helping us unlock travel opportunities for education and professional development. And so, Douglas,
Yeah.
what can you share with us any success stories of people that has gone through Snyders Group that are now studying, let's say, outside in the US or any part of the world?
Absolutely. This year, I think the beginning of this year, this January, I have like 9 people from Takoradi moved to the US.
Okay.
So I want to share one person. So I met the parent. You know, the parent had talked to the director of Snyders here in Ghana that they wanted their kid who graduated from Archbishop Walter Girls School to study in the US. To me, it was funny because when he called me like, hey, you know, I have this person here who want to study abroad, you know, so like, yeah, we can help. So the first thing that she needed was a passport, and we got her transcript. You know, she did well on the WASI. You know, usually, so this is the funny thing. When, you know, here in Ghana, everything that your WASI result says defines you.
Yeah.
It's different in the US,
Okay.
right? So in the US, some of the schools look at your WASI results as like a standard exam, but they actually want to see your transcript.
Yeah.
So your transcript tells them what you did for in first year, second year, and your final year,
Yeah.
right? So if you had good grades and maybe, so let's say your final transcript says your GPA is around like 3.6, but your WASI results, you got like a couple B's or C's, or in some cases you might get a D. You know, out here in Ghana, like if you don't get a certain grade,
Yeah.
you don't get a good program, right? But it's different in the US. You know, some schools admit you based on what your transcript says. If they verify your WASI results, irrespective of your grades, if you don't get a lot of Fs, you don't get like 3 Fs, 4 Fs, they think you're still good. They give you an opportunity, which you don't get here in Ghana, right? So I explained that to the parent, and they were shocked. So they felt that because their daughter didn't get all A's, she probably wouldn't get a good program.
Yeah.
But I assured them that, hey, in the US it's different. You can get the program that she wants. She wants to read law, right? So in the US you can't just get law as your first degree. You have to actually take something that is related to law, like psychology or sociology or anything that is social science.
Okay.
And then when you graduate, you can further your education by taking the LSAT and then go to law school. So I explained that to them, and she got the admission. And then we had to coach. I coached her on what to say. Because usually at the embassy, you know, they ask you a series of questions. Not that much, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. So I went through some of them with her, coached her like, hey, if you ask, this is how you answer. You know, one of the challenges here in Ghana is communication. Most people don't know how to answer questions, right? So you have to kind of mentor your client regarding like how the interviews are conducted. You know, so I kind of coached her. Like we spent like 30 minutes going through those questions, and then I'm like, hey, I'm off to bed because it was late in the US.
Okay.
I woke up 6 hours later. I got a text like, hey, I'm so happy I got approved for the visa. And actually, I helped the family. I helped them to purchase the flight tickets. And when she got to the US, she went through where I live, so I had to pick her up from the airport, put her at the hotel for one night, and then I drove her to campus. And yeah, so and it's one of the best stories because there's so much behind the scenes to that story, but I wanna keep the good part. You know, so yeah.
Okay, so then can you take us through the processes that one needs to go through in order to be able to get a school outside. I don't know if you can take us a bit through the scholarships out there and how one can chance upon such scholarships.
Yeah, so scholarships are easy to get, you know. So here's the thing: if somebody is interested in studying in, so I'm biased when it comes to like countries.
Mm.
I always pick US over every other
Why?
country anyway. So because um you don't need a lot of stuff. Unlike UK, UK they go through like your bank statements. Like you have to get something this much in your account. You have to pay like £3,000. I don't. I hate for people to go through all that frustration.
Okay.
US it's much direct. Some schools are hard or tough to get because of so many people apply there. But we have over more than 80,000 universities, 8,000 universities in the US. So if one doesn't work, you can apply as much as you can.
Yeah.
But for starters, what you are looking for is your first. If you're a high school graduate looking to pursue your undergraduate program in the US, you need your transcript.
Okay.
You need your WASI results. You need a passport, and you need like financial statement. So the financial statement tells the school that you have somebody who will sponsor your education.
Okay.
So if the tuition is like $20,000, you need at least like twice the amount, in the statement. Send it to the school before you are sent like what we call an I-20. Okay. So I-20 is the admission document that you need to take to the embassy. So it's a direct process. You can apply, but most people want to do it themselves. The challenge is when you get to the point where you have to pay with credit card. If you know someone who can pay with your credit card, you can do that. Some of the schools will take checks, but it takes longer for you to get it. Other schools like online, you do your application online. And then the challenge, I think the biggest one is the financial statement.
Okay.
Right? Because if your parents' income is less, how do you qualify?
Yeah.
So in Ghana, people are like good. Like there are some folks that you talk to. Like for us, what we try to do is we help all the students that we get. Like, hey, if you come from a family that doesn't have enough, but you have good grades, we help you get those financial statements.
Snyders.
Right.
Okay.
We provide that. Sometimes we have over $70,000 in the statement. We provide that for you as part of. If you want to take you as a client, this is what we do for you. We do all the application. We provide you the statements.
Okay.
We apply to the school. Once you get admissions, we help you with your visa application, and then we pay your service fee. Okay. So service fee is money you pay to the U.S. government if you are going there to study. So all students pay that, irrespective of country.
Okay.
So we help you make that payment. We provide the receipt, and we also give you a new statement, because the one that you provided to the school, by the time you are ready for an interview, it probably has expired, but it's probably like more than 6 months old. So we help you with a new statement as part of we supporting you as a client. Okay. And then we coach you to go through the interview process at the embassy. Yeah, so basically that's what you need. So you need transcript, your passport. Some schools want your WASI results because they verify. Some of the schools, they don't. They want you to, take the SAT exam, the SAT, the IELTS, or the TOEFL. No, not all schools require that. Okay. However, if you want like scholarship, if you take your transcript, it's just transcript. Everybody has one. How do you qualify for scholarship? That's when they look at your SAT score. Okay. So if you did great on your SAT, or you did great on maybe your IELTS or TOEFL, you qualify for more scholarship. Okay. The school can give you some scholarship, but then because of your score, you're able to like apply for more scholarship. Okay. And if you get to campus, maybe after your first semester, you have very good GPA, then they increase, or you have opportunity to apply for more scholarship. Yeah, so that's what happens when you get there.
Okay, So what about studying alongside working? How do you secure a job or something as you are studying on campus?
Okay, so for all F1 students,
Mhm.
you are required, if you take a job, so the first time you get to the US as an F1 student, you can only work on campus.
Okay.
And the max hours you can work is 20 hours, you know. So you can't work more than 20 hours if you're an F1 student.
Okay.
Right, a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, so that's the law. You know, so you have to get your first job on campus.
Okay.
If you want to work off campus, that means you have to literally like get a job on campus, do the 20 hours. However, when school is in recess,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you want to do 40 hours, 60 hours, especially during the summer,
Yeah.
you can do that. You know, for me, I love the summers, you know, because that's when you're a student, that was the time that you work like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you know. So by the time school starts, you already made bank, you know.
Yeah.
There are 3 months that, you know, school was in recess.
Okay.
So yeah, but you know, most people look at that as a law, so it hinders their growth mindset, right? So on paper, you're asked to do like 20 hours,
Okay.
but who want to work 20 hours a week? Everybody wants to work more hours,
yeah.
right? So there are some jobs that you can do that you don't necessarily have to go through the school.
Okay.
You know, for me personally, I recommend that if anyone who wants to travel, you should learn how to drive.
Okay.
You know, if you can drive, it saves you money and it gives you some leverage. If I have a job on campus, I'm only allowed to do 20 hours. Weekends, you know, who knows where I am during the weekends, right? So if I can drive, I can maybe drive Uber or maybe do Lyft, and we have like DoorDash, we have GrabHub. So these are app-based like services, right? So Uber, everybody knows, is like for if you want to get in a car, go somewhere, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So DoorDash is similar to Uber. However, they don't pick humans. They pick groceries and stuff.
Okay.
Right. So if you know how to drive, that's another way of making an income, which has nothing to do with what the school is saying, right? Because nobody can actually pinpoint that, hey, you know, you work.
You work during this hour.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, Douglas. So what are some of the practical tips that you can give to the young people who would like to go study, all right, outside? I mean, when it comes to finances, any practical financial plan that you can lay down for us so we can adapt to?
Right. So now that I'm matured and kind of have like some common sense, this is what I would do if I have to go back. Right. Okay. When you graduate from high school, right, usually you stay home 1 year, wait for your results.
Yeah.
Make that 1 year count.
Okay.
This is what I mean. People stay home for 1 year doing nothing. And when you ask them like, oh, I'm waiting for my results, right? So that 1 year, you could learn a trade. If you are a guy, you can learn mechanic, right? So learn to be a mechanic. You can learn to be a plumber.
Okay.
You can learn like how to fix air conditioners. So I give an example to somebody like, okay, if you watch any movie that has, you know, you see like pictures of New York or any other big city, it's skyscrapers, you know, they use like air conditioners. You know, somebody makes sure that, you know, they always work. Plumbers, you know, these are some of the jobs that people don't think is a good idea to learn.
Yeah.
When I went to the US, I wasn't handy, and sometimes it costs you money, right? It costs you more money because you have to put things together. You have to read, like they'll give you a manual, like you read. You have to put things together. And initially, I was struggling because I didn't have all the pre-technical skills that I did was just drawing boards, right? So I had no clue. Right, I had no clue on how to put things together. So I learned that in the US because I had friends who were very good, so I had to learn that. So if somebody wants to travel, you want to travel to study, I get that, but that's book knowledge. The book knowledge wouldn't get you that far. It's the skill that you have. So be very resourceful, be somebody who got some sort of skill.
Okay.
You know, if you're a lady, you can learn how to braid hair. It doesn't sound great, but it's good. But I, for one, like for people, because the world is moving to a more more on technology.
Yeah.
It's best to learn, improve your typing skills, learn more about technology, like your computing. If you are great at using Microsoft Office, like Word, know how to, make PowerPoint, great PowerPoint,
Yeah.
presentation, or know how to use a spreadsheet like Excel, right? If you are good at using Excel, it, you know, it will push you to the next level, So once your results come, you want to go to the, travel outside. It's great. You are coming with a skill set that most people don't have. So you can drive, you have a skill that you can leverage. It's easier getting a job on campus doing something that most people don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Then here's one problem. The average American who graduated from high school can type really fast, right? So when you come to Ghana, you meet nurses. They still, some of them chat in books. Over in the US, if you go to the hospital, when you talk to a nurse, when they ask you, how do you feel? This whole time they are typing.
They're typing, yeah.
Right? So that's how it is. If you want to read nursing, if you want to read any program that is related to, health or is technology or whatnot, typing is inevitable. Everybody types, So you have to be very good, else you struggle in class. You should be able to know how to learn from screens. Most people like books. They'll, highlight stuff, whatnot. You should learn how to do that on a computer or a tablet. Because most of your books will come like in PDF format. And some people struggle because they can't make good notes. They're always distracted. So these are some of the things that you need to learn before you pursue a career outside.
Okay. Taking you back to the scholarship. Yeah. What are some of the things or some of the barriers that prevent people from getting certain scholarships that probably they think they were supposed to get and all that?
So here's the thing. There's a myth that if you want a school outside, you need a scholarship, right? So I think when I used to live in Ghana, when we were young, like people come on TV like, oh, Kwame Nkrumah's time, they got scholarship, they went to the US for free. So now everybody's looking for something free.
Yeah.
So I always ask them, you live here in Ghana, if you go to KNUST or you go to University of Ghana, how many people are on scholarship? Right?
Yeah.
So most people are not. So if you are looking for something different, that means you have to outwork many people. If you want great scholarship, your scores should show that you deserve a scholarship.
Yeah.
Somebody will come to you, they have second class lower, but they are looking for someone who had first class, they had like top GRE scores, who got a scholarship. So they're listening to that person, and they also want the same for themselves. So if you want a scholarship, you have to work harder at it, right? So you have to get good grades, you have to be in the top percentile. If you take, for masters, you probably have to take the GRE or GMAT, right? And some schools would ask you to write a statement of purpose. Some people just plagiarize, like, hey, this is me. But little did they know that we have software that it tells, professors like this is actually plagiarized, right? So if you want good scholarship or great scholarship, you have to let your work show that you deserve, and then you can get it.
Right. And then, so how do we then contact Snyders for assistance?
Yeah. So we don't have an office here in Takoradi, or neither do we have anything here in Ghana, right? So Snyders is our virtual. We're based in Los Angeles, California, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. If somebody wants to get a hold of Snyders, we have a phone number, we have email that you can reach out to. So we had a website which I took down because we're trying to rebuild it. So anyone who is interested in Snyders can reach out through info@snyderscg.com.
Okay.
Just send an email, tell us about what you want to do, you know, what your plans are. You know, we don't just do like the travel part. We also like mentor people to take on technology, you know, as a challenge. Like I'm a cybersecurity professional, and I love all things cyber.
Okay.
And I have friends who are software engineers or developers. They work for Microsoft and Amazon and like some of the bigger companies in the US who are part of the group. You know, so if somebody is interested in learning more about software, they provide these resources, right? If it's cyber, then you know I'll be the one providing that support.
Okay. So not only with the travel, but we have this the mentorship and then all
Correct.
of that.
Yep.
Okay. So if we're able to contact you, meaning you'll be able you take us through whatever that is needed for the travel or for your stay there, what one person needs to do to be able to stay in the US while studying and then working and everything.
Right. So people come to the US and they have no idea, you know, you can't have the same mindset in Ghana and apply that in the US.
Okay.
Right. So when you get to the US, you have to understand that it's a different country. You know, people care less. It's more about you versus the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Right. So you should always have a vision. Where do you want to see yourself in the next few years? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? So if you have a skill set in Ghana, you come to the US, how do you improve on those skills?
Okay.
You know, many people believe that if they get a higher education, if I come to the US, I get my master's or I get my PhD, I will succeed. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. You know, your education is just something that tells somebody that you're able to complete tasks.
Okay.
You know, professors will assign you projects and you get it done.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they give you something to show that, hey, this guy or this girl can, you know, be responsible and complete tasks.
Yeah.
Your life begins. No, your life already started even before you went to school, right? But so how you do on the outside or outside the class is more important than you know. So in our in the global, like if you go around the world, most of the highly educated ones are working for the dropouts.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So that means you have to get your priorities straight. School is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with school. You know, some people have to be professors to teach. Others have to, but not everybody. It's just like any other career. You know, we have doctors. You know, people go to school to be doctors, but there are certain jobs that are out there that, you know, people can still pursue and do, right? But it's like many people want to do the same thing, like it's being recycled. But there are so many other jobs that people can take. So for us, when you reach out to any of, you know, anybody that works for Snyders, you know, if you talk to them, they'll tell you, like, we want to know your strength. You know, what are you good at? What do you want to do? You know, and then we kind of help drive, you know, that thing that can change your, you know, your mindset about, you know, careers.
Okay. Okay, Douglas, this is a common question that I usually ask all my guests. Okay, so what aspect of the Sustainable Development Goals are your activities helping to, you know, promote?
So for me, we want to promote like quality education. You know, I think there's a big gap when it comes to education, right? We learn about 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷, you know, 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷 got in Gurdjieff, you know, that it's good, it's history. You know, you come to Takoradi. So let's say this is my first time in Takoradi. How do I know more about Takoradi? You know, if you go around the city, so many things have changed, right? But there's nobody writing about it, right? So somebody could just start a blog, talk about Takoradi in the past. This is how it used to look like. Get pictures of the old market circle. You know, some of the older buildings that we have. There used to be a building that they call like, it's like 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐻 storage, a pyramid or whatnot. People see it and they have no idea what that is. So I don't even know if it's true or not, because people say, oh, that's where they used to store food, right? And nobody's talking about it. So somebody has to be responsible to kind of explain Takoradi, Sekendi Takoradi, where the name came from, or how things have changed. We used to have Mondial, it's no longer there. Dupont, it's no longer there. If somebody blogs about this, anyone who comes here the first time can understand where, Takoradi is kind of pushing to. What are some of the development that we can look, and the youth that live here in Takoradi. If anyone most of the folks that succeeded, they all left. Nobody stays. Everybody's moving to Accra or Kumasi. So why don't they stay? There's something, right? So if we don't talk about some of these things, if those folks don't come back to kind of inspire the youth, I think there'll be a time that you come to a city with so many people who kind of feel like they've been left out. You get what I'm trying to say, right? And for me, that was something that made me come back to kind of enlighten, like, folks, like, hey, it's not the end of the world. There are so many things that you can do, right? People spend time scrolling through Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. They'll buy data to do that. But if you tell them to buy data to learn something that can, help push their careers, they don't want to do it. They want someone else to do. So I think if anyone who wants to succeed, right, you should know economics. You should understand it, not just know. You should understand economics. You should know some accounting, right? Because if you want to run business, it's not necessarily like knowing math. Like addition, subtraction is something really simple. You can use your smartphone to do it, right? But you should understand, profit and loss. Right? You should understand some basic math concepts, which I think school teaches you enough, right? But they don't teach you what you need in the real world. So exactly. So if you teach somebody Pythagoras theorem, it's great. If they want to be engineers, they'll learn some calculus, 1, 2. They apply that to making bridges, right? But outside of that, there should be some education that teaches people how to maybe balance their own, account. Teach them about financial literacy is zero here in this part of, I don't know about other cities, but in Takoradi, I can tell.
From what you've seen so far.
Yeah, those are what I've seen. You travel many years, come back, people are still at the same place. They have no idea what to do with their lives, right? And soon as they make money, people tell them what to do with the money, right? So you have to get like some financial, education, which, by the way, is not taught in school. It's not a business school. You can learn, you have a whole book, small business, you can start your own business, and then understand how to scale business, right? Most people don't do that, and that's why some of the businesses that started last year no longer exist today, right? Because there's no plan. Everybody wants to sell something.
Once you see someone else doing, meaning you can also do
exactly.
it, just get in there.
We had like 5 goats making like pure water, and then so about 69 came. Adam issue came. Now I come in this whole brand new, like it changes exactly. So everybody's doing the same thing, which is wrong, right? For me, I like businesses that scale, and if you want to scale your business, you have to go in the servicing industry, provide some form of service. That's why for me, it's very important to keep this conversation going. Help people understand that education is great, but it shouldn't end in the classroom. You should keep learning, keep reading. Most people don't even read once they write their last paper in college. They don't, right? So once you're done with school, the next part of your life has to be self-development, which most people don't do, right? You can't use what you learn in class
alone.
So
it depends on the field.
Exactly. So one thing that I always find funny, if you have any conversation with anybody, about business.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to start my own company. The first thing that comes to mind is I need an office, right? So they'll get the office, I need chairs. They put in a chair, they put a desk. They'll get maybe air conditioner, fridge. But how many clients have you got? Zero.
Yeah.
So all the money that you got, you just put it into something which has no relevance to what you actually want to do. And that's why those businesses don't last longer, because you're already in debt, but you have no client.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So these are some of the conversations that we should keep having. Help the youth understand that, you know, you have to kind of change the mindset, you know, about business, about life, and then make good decisions, and that will, you know, propel you to succeed in the future.
Okay, whether in Ghana or outside,
Absolutely,
anywhere.
right.
Yes. Okay, Douglas, so your final words and any advice that you want to add up before we go?
So the advice that I have for the youth is keep pushing yourself. You know, don't limit who you are. You know, you have a brain that can process as many things as, you know, it can. So don't limit yourself that because I'm from Takoradi, I can't do much. Or if I want to succeed, I need to move to Accra. You can live here and learn any skill that you want to learn. It's free. You got YouTube University. That's the best university you can get in anywhere, in any part of the world. Anything that you want to learn, there's some sort of a video that will teach you about, you know, that. And for me, I love technology. You know, you can learn like cybersecurity. You can learn about DevOps engineering. You can learn about project management. You know, you can take some classes online, and then learn, take an exam, pass, and then, you know. So it shouldn't be what you have been taught. Your master's or your bachelor's degree, they are good to have, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but you know, you have to get a skill. The skill will actually get you the job that you're looking for. The skill can help you build a business around what you know, right? So for me, my message is learn a skill. And whichever skill that you pick, be the best at it.
Be the best.
Right. And that's what, you know, will get you where you want to be. Because even if you want to work for a company, every company will pay you for your value.
Yes.
They don't pay you for your hard work. Right. So if you are part of the decision making, you tend to make more money. If you work for somebody and you're not part of the decision making, you know, you always get less. Exactly. So yeah. So that's what I will encourage everybody to, you know, to kind of learn. You know, don't stop learning. You know, grow, change your mindset, and travel as much as you can. You can learn from different people. You know, be in rooms with people who are already successful. You know, they'll teach you a thing or two. And never listen to people who are not go-getters. You know, so yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And that was Douglas 𝐾𝐨𝐮𝐭𝐡, the CEO of Snyders Group. Thank you so much, Douglas, for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I believe I have learned a lot, and I believe my viewers have also taken note of certain things. And so be looking on your phone, be checking your mails. You'll be getting the messages very soon.
Sounds
we'll be
good.
calling you for assistance and all that.
All right, anytime.
Okay. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us. My name is 𝐘𝐨𝐿, your gorgeous host, and this program was sponsored by the Center for Volunteerism and Social Transformation, CENVAS. And so for all your individual or voluntary activities, contact CENVAS at info.cenvas.org. So same time next week. Stay blessed.
Watch TV, promoting sustainable development.